The hum of the twin turbofans was a constant lullaby in the cockpit of the General's private Gulfstream G650, slicing through the ink-black Pacific night at 45,000 feet. Captain Elena Vasquez, her flight suit crisp despite the long haul from Andrews Air Force Base, gripped the co-pilot's yoke with hands steadied by years of iron discipline. She'd flown General Harlan Reed for half a decade, classified runs to war zones, VIP shuttles for brass, even the tense extraction from Kabul. He was the epitome of the decorated war hero, Silver Star recipient, architect of counter-terror ops, the man who whispered strategy in the Pentagon's ear. But tonight, en route to a hush-hush summit in Hawaii, trust had curdled into dread. It started with fragments. 2 nights ago, in the hangar shadows, she'd overheard Reed on a burner phone. The codes are gold, stealth blueprints, drone overrides. They'll pay billions. Dismissed it as bluster then. But yesterday, while he napped in the cabin, she'd glimpsed his encrypted tablet left carelessly on the credenza. A quick swipe, her pilot's access code still worked, revealed the abyss, transaction logs wiring funds to offshore shells linked to a rogue syndicate, defense schematics tagged for terrorists. U.S. stealth tech in enemy hands meant nightmare scenarios, strikes on Allied bases in the South China Sea, carrier groups vaporized, thousands of sailors and pilots lost in a cascade of betrayal. Reed wasn't defending America, he was auctioning it. Elena's pulse thundered as the cockpit door hissed open. Reed strode in for his routine inspection, his uniform starched, metals glinting under the dim instrument lights. At 6 feet 2 inches and built like a tank, he filled the space, barking, "Vasquez, adjust course 10 degrees starboard. Summit's tight, can't be late." His phone buzzed in his pocket, screen flaring to life as he pulled it out. Elena's eyes locked on the message, payload transfer complete. Strike window opens at dawn. Coordinates locked. Time fractured. Training simulations flooded her mind. Hijack protocols from her Air Force days, emergency overrides drilled into muscle memory. Loyalty. Shattered. Lives. On the line. Without a word, she thumbed the cockpit door lock with her elbow, the hydraulic seal clamping shut like a vault. Autopilot lockdown engaged in a blink, yanking control from co-pilot overrides. Her right hand dove under the seat, retrieving the concealed Beretta M9 from its holster, standard issue for high-threat flights, now her lifeline. "General, you're done," Elena said, her voice a blade of steel, sidearm leveled at his chest. Reed's face contorted, shock widening his eyes, then fury twisting his jowls. What the hell? He lunged for the controls, massive hands clawing at the console. But Elena was faster, honed by dogfight reflexes. A warning shot cracked into the auxiliary panel, sparks erupted, circuits frying in a shower of blue fire, severing his digital tether. Alarms wailed, collision warnings, system breaches, as she wrenched the yoke, banking the jet into a sharp evasive spiral. The G-forces pinned Reed against the bulkhead. She stabbed the emergency comms button, broadcasting on guarded military freaks. "Mayday, Mayday, this is Captain Vasquez aboard General Reed's jet, callsign Shadow Hawk. Reed is a traitor, selling classified codes to syndicate terrorists. Stealth tech compromised. Potential strikes on assets at dawn. Diverting to nearest secure base, alert SOCOM and Cyber Command now." Static crackled with urgent acknowledgements from distant towers. Reed snarled, recovering his footing, veins bulging. "You'll never land this bird, you insolent bitch. They're coming for you." He charged again, but Elena sidestepped, slamming him into the engineer's station. She initiated the black box purge, wiping his logs while force uploading evidence snapshots to HQ satellites. Cuffs snapped from the hijacker restraints drawer, binding his wrists behind him as the plane plunged deeper into the spiral, buying precious seconds. Outside, stars wheeled, below, the ocean churned. Thousands hung in the balance, her gamble, the lone shield against betrayal's sharpened edge. The General's empire teetered, and Elena Vasquez held the controls. Adrenaline surged through Captain Elena Vasquez's veins like molten steel as the Gulfstream G650 screamed earthward toward Edwards Air Force Base, its airframe groaning under the strain of evasive maneuvers. The digital readout blinked fuel critical, 20 minutes, tops, while Reed's syndicate allies lit up her radar with inbound drones, mistaking the jet for their traitorous benefactor. Bound and gagged in the jump seat with zip ties cutting into his wrists, General Harlan Reed thrashed futilely, his eyes burning with impotent rage. The live feed Elena had jury-rigged from his tablet streamed to military intel, transaction proofs, syndicate chatter, strike coordinates for 3 U.S. carrier groups in the Pacific. Her hijack had traced the codes to a cartel airstrip in Baja, Mexico, where SOCOM drones now swarmed, neutralizing the handoff just in time. Dawn's first light bled over the horizon, the strike window slamming shut. Ground control crackled over the comms, voices taut with urgency. "Shadow Hawk, this is Edwards Tower. You've got full clearance, runway 04R. Bravo team extraction on hot standby. Bogies inbound, SAM sights painting them now." Elena wrestled the yoke through brutal turbulence, the plane bucking like a wild stallion. Simulated missile locks pinged from the drones, she punched countermeasures, chaff and flares erupting in brilliant cascades, blooming like deadly fireworks against the orange sky. "Copy that," she gritted out, sweat stinging her eyes. Syndicate interceptors, evading. The G650 shuddered as she rolled inverted, shedding a phantom lock, then leveled for the salt flats, endless white expanse. Alarms shrieked. Undercarriage damage, belly landing advised. No choice. Elena killed the engines, configuring for a dead stick glide. The base loomed, hangars, chase planes scrambling, foam pits prepped by ground crews. She flared the nose high, the underbelly kissing the flats with a deafening screech. Sparks flew in a comet tail of friction, the jet skidding sideways across the crystalline surface, halting inches from the arrestor barriers in a plume of dust and smoke. Silence crashed in, broken only by the hiss of cooling metal in her ragged breaths. The cockpit hatch burst open under battering rams. Federal agents in tactical gear stormed aboard, M4S trained, hauling Reed out like a sacked quarterback. He spat the gag loose, venom spewing. "You were nothing without me, Vasquez. A glorified chauffeur, I made you." Agents dragged him into the dawn light, chains clanking as MPs swarmed. Elena, bruised ribs throbbing, handed over the tablet, its screen frozen on irrefutable evidence. Wire transfers to shell companies, blueprints of F-35 overrides, plans for synchronized strikes that would have vaporized carriers, dooming thousands of sailors and igniting global war. Intelligence brass confirmed via secure link. Her bold override had averted catastrophe, syndicate assets crumbling under preemptive raids. As medics patched her cuts and checked for shock, the base commander, a grizzled colonel with a chest full of ribbons, strode in and snapped a salute. "Captain Vasquez, you didn't just fly that bird, you flew straight into the history books. Traitor down, plot shattered. Thousands owe you their lives." Elena nodded, the weight of betrayal lifting like fog burned off by the rising sun. Reed's empire lay in ashes on the runway, a general's fall etched in scorched earth. She had turned the skies from graveyard to grace.